You don't really always, you try to anticipate the things that can come up. Sometimes you got to react, but for the most part, you trust the work that you're doing. For the most part, what happened is how we thought it was going to happen.
What does it say, I guess, about you guys and Coach Norville as a person to, you get 16 commitments in 10 days? I mean, a lot of these guys were committed before, but to get them to hold on.
Well, and I don't want to say that. I mean, it's 16 commitments, but it's 16 signees, and it's a tribute to the university. It's a tribute to the staff that was in place. And then we came in, we just were ourselves for the last week or so, and just made sure to give them reassurances that the reasons they picked Florida State were still in place.
How much do you think credit that goes to Coach Norville and sort of his personality and the way he is able to connect with people in a short amount of time?
It's critical. I mean, your head coach is your front porch, so for us to have Mike in place for that last week was critical to this happening. And it's so delicate, this recruiting process. You lose one day or even 1 hour, and maybe you lose one commitment, and you never know how that ends up playing 3 or 4 years down the road. So, the recruiting process is very fragile, and you never know what T you need to cross or what I you need to dot. You just don't know. But Mike knows how to do it, and we came in here and kind of filled in the spaces in the void that need to be filled this weekend, and we're able to pull out a good class so far.
With that being said, how have you handled the past 10 days? Coach Norville talked about necessarily the tribulations of having this much to do in this amount of time period.
Yeah, it's sensational. Just to do your job in a short amount of time, you need to be at your best all the time. So that was good. I enjoyed it because you're trying to recruit, number one, develop the relationships with the current players, and then put together a staff. So those are the three things that we've been really focused on, and whatever you were doing was really the most important thing, and you'd have to make sure you were on the right phone, to make sure you were talking about, but the subject was always going to be the same. It's just who you were directing it to.
To go ahead and get Josh Griffiths back on board.
Huge.
How big is that? Especially the position of need, too, I guess.
Huge. I mean, with us, it's not about schematics, but we're going to go to a 4-down front, and we're going to play with 2 edge players. So to put another player involved with the current players, to get that done, give credit to the staff that was here. Odell did a great job with that one, and Josh was a pleasure to be around for the weekend. He is a true Seminole. When you talk to him and just his mindset and what he's looking for, I let him speak, and then kind of told him what we were going to be about, and that fall into some easy conversations, especially with his mom and dad, and there was a connection pretty early with him, and I think it utterly was a connection because he wanted it to be too.
You mentioned Odell. I guess how big was he in keeping this class together
I
for
can't,
like a month and a half?
Without Odell Hagens, who knows what this class looks like.
What do you think of is it 2 defensive back commitments you got, signees you got? What did you think of those 2? I think Murray and...
Yeah, and McKnight.
Yeah, McKnight.
Well, Tate's incredibly versatile. I think he's one of the best defensive backs in the country from a corner skill set with a safety body. Love being around this weekend. It was great that we were able to spend our time with a lot of the commitments this weekend. But I think Tate, he's got a great high ceiling. He does a lot of things with the football, whether it's return game. You watch him catch the ball and run with it. But that's the kind of player we want to recruit. We want a guy with corner skill set, safety size. Gives us some position flexibility for him.
To
McKnight, he's from Dunbar High School. I know Coach Sam Brown, the head coach down there, and Carl Burnside, the principal. I know Odell knows him really well. I had a relationship with him, so it made it a little bit easier to transition when we got in there. And he came in here. If you watch his tape, probably for about 3 minutes, you realize he's one of the most violent players in the country. So there's always a place for him.
What was it like just being in that meeting room today as a staff? I assume it was pretty fun in there given the way the news went, but just the dynamic with you guys.
Well, it's just there's a lot of new relationships being formed. There's some older ones that are still being formed or you reunited. So, it's just we're all pulling for Florida State at that point, and we're all waiting to hear the same thing, So, it was good, but it's just, again, today's a big day, but it's just a day, and it's about making sure we finish tonight. There's still a couple of them out there that we're going to keep trying to get. And then it's about the next group here coming up in February and then getting around these players. So, it's great. It's awesome, but there's something else still out there.